Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm given the honor of having an opportunity to talk to you regarding several subjects. And I'd like to start by saying, first, thank you to the translator, who's going to have a very hard time trying to keep up with me. I will try to go slow, because I know how hard it is to do translation at the same time. Because without understanding the language, it becomes very hard to understand the message. I also want to take this opportunity to say, I'm going to, while I have an allotted time of 1 hour, I'm going to leave some time towards the end for questions and answers. The reason I will say that is because there might be certain questions on your mind that I might not have touched upon, or it might be something of interest to you that I am not aware of. If you can ask, it'll help make it a bit more interesting for yourself. My name is Mishaля Кану. I am the chairman of the Kanu Group, which is a company that is 127 years old in the Gulf. It's 127 years for us. It's not working? Okay. I'm sorry, I want to make sure everyone gets to understand. Fixed it? Okay, thank you. The company is 127 years old, and I am a member of the 4th generation of my family business, and I even have a cousin who's older than me, who is a member of the 5th generation, also working in the business. And our business stretches in types of industries from shipping, logistics, freight forwarding, travel, insurance, oil and gas, energy, and different aspects. I'm not here to sell my company. I'm just here to give you an idea of what is my background before talking to you about this. The second, which is more important for me, is myself. I have been working within my family business for the last 27 years. And I know it inside and out. And I've understood different mindsets and how to get things done. This is important because part and parcel of what you are expecting and what you would like to get done and understand from this conference is the ability to create business, the ability to interact with others, the ability to start to help create a new opportunity either for yourself or for your organization. And the biggest problem most people encounter and don't really understand it and don't think about it, unfortunately, is the issue of human behavior, human interaction. Because without that human interaction, without me knowing what you like, or what you want, or what you need, and without you paying the same attention to me, I cannot give you what you want, and you cannot give me what I want. So for example, if I was never interested in Russia, I wouldn't be here. I'm getting to learn more about Russia, the different parts of Russia, how the republics the different entities within Russia interact with one another. I'm starting to learn more about this, and this becomes important, because if I want to work, am I working with just Moscow? Or is there a rest of the world outside of Moscow in Russia? For me, understanding this gives me a better understanding of how to best interact with yourselves. And again, from, let's say, Vladivostok all the way to St. Petersburg, are you all the same? Are all Russians the same? I mean, you have a Russian passport, but are you all the same? And the answer is obviously not. You have different nations within Russia. And it's the same thing within my part of the world. Within the Arab world, which most people think is, by the way, do you mind if I walk here? It's okay? Okay. I like to walk with close to people so that you can feel that I'm part of what is happening. It's important for me to make sure that people leave here getting a full understanding of what they've come for. Within the Arab world, there is no one country. Within the Islamic world, there is no one country. There isn't an Islamic picture. There isn't an Arab picture. There are peoples from within the Arab world, from West Morocco all the way east would be Oman. And in the Islamic world, I would say all the way West Morocco, all the way east would be Indonesia. And somewhere and everything in between. And I have different peoples and different ideas. But the question is, how do you create opportunities in business? This is the perspective I'm coming from. For me, I'm not a scholar. I'm not going to talk about Islamic jurisprudence other than in what benefits the business. But for me, it's to talk to yourselves how to best create opportunities, again, for your business, to help, or yourselves as individual, to help bridge between the two. See, for people living in Russia, you had your transition. You went from, forgive my history or lack of it, but from what I read superficially, you start off with a czar structure into a communist structure and now back into a capitalist structure. So you had this transition. And what happened for us and for the rest of the world, the time of communism was lost. We lost contact. Russia was put as an entity, and there was a wall around it. And so people have this mentality outside of Russia that that's still there. And the only way to break out of that is one of two ways. Either you come to us, or we come to you. I'm not saying this because I'm to be positive on one way or negative on the other. I am not making a moral judgment. I don't care. For me, I want to understand how can I best benefit everyone. The Americans have this mentality. Sometimes they apply it, sometimes they don't. But I think this is the appropriate mentality. It's called a win-win situation. I need to win, but I need you to win. You are not my competitor. You are my partner. If we do business, I need you to benefit. I need you to enjoy this partnership. I need you to make money out of it. Because the more you are benefiting out of it, the better it is for me, because then you would want me to also benefit. The worst mentality that I've seen in business is a master-slave mentality. I control everything, I run everything, I give you something. And if I don't like you, I take it away. Well, this doesn't work. This works for a very short time, and then it dies. The most important thing in conducting business is to ensure that everyone has an opportunity to benefit. Because if I don't have that, I'm going to constantly try to cheat, hide, make money on the side, not allow you to grow. Because if you grow and I'm not growing, why should I care? Why should I help you continue? You grow and I suffer. It's important to understand that if you want to get something done, you must look at the other party, the other side, as your partner. When you get into business, any type of business, actually it's even worse. But when you get into business, look at a business as a marriage. How many of you will just get married like this? Well, there are some people, but usually when they get married like this, they get divorced like that. How do long-term marriages survive? Because it's the same mentality. If you can understand that, you can understand how it works in business. The only difference is, well, I'm sure you can imagine what the only difference is. If you're coming into a marriage, you want to know who's the family, you want to understand who is the individual, what does he or she like, what does he or she want from the marriage? Are they looking for it to get, if the marriage is a convenience marriage, are they looking to get, I don't know, a certificate of something? Are they looking because some people want to get married because they want to have a child? Some people want to get married because it helps them in their job perspective? Because, people look and say, married people are more stable people. So what are you looking for in a marriage? Some people are looking for it purely as a love marriage. If you understand that, then you can understand how you enter into this marriage and what type of perspective of growth and success you will have in the marriage. It's the exact same thing in business. I want to know who is my partner, what does my partner want, what's the benefit for them, how can I provide it to them, how can I help them grow with it, because the more they grow, the more I benefit as well. When you understand this, then you take this whole perspective of what I just talked about business, and you start to apply it in terms of how countries interact with one another. Tatarstan actually is in a much better situation than, say, the UAE was 40 years ago. You have minerals, you have industries. I'm very much impressed by what industries you have, from rudimentary industries such as rural agriculture, all the way to high-end industries such as petrochemical and oil and gas, and in some cases different chemistry. It's a big, vast base to work from. You also have a large population. The population here is, I'm given to understand, 3.8 million-ish, somewhere around that much. You have 3.8 million. When the UAE started out, I don't think we crossed 1 million. I don't think we had 1 million people in the whole country. You have the third other thing, you have the backing of a significant player in the world. It's a significant financial player, it's a significant operating player, it's a significant military player, it's a significant political player, which is Russia. The UAE doesn't have that, didn't have that. You also now have something in addition to that. You know, when you live in a place which is very harsh as an environment, you become harsh. And when you live in a place which is, the English word is lush, green, forestry, you become softer. Not because, I don't mean soft as in sleeping on pillows type soft, no. But you are a more easygoing people. Because there's always lots to give. I can give more. I don't have to fight you all the time. When I only have one fruit and many mouths, it's very hard to give that fruit to many people. And you will find people who constantly want to take a larger piece, or if they can take the whole thing. That's the harshness I'm talking about. Well, versus if I'm sitting and there are many mouths, and I have a tree full of fruits, I can give as much fruits as I want, and it won't hurt me. There's no effect to me. You have all of these advantages. But the UAE did something which, you know, everyone thinks it's just oil. I can assure you there are countries with as much oil as the UAE who didn't do half as much as the UAE. And there is a reason for that. It comes down to the reason of leadership. It's not just political leadership, that's important. But it comes down to business leadership. People within the industries, people who want to grow and do something, who are not happy with just being an employee, but rather want to do something. Having that hunger helps grow business. It helps people wanting to, I don't mean it in a negative challenge, to challenge one another all the time, to fight with one another all the time. I don't mean that. But what I do mean is it's competitive, in that I'm constantly want to do better than my friend or my brother, not to hurt them. There isn't, I have to win, he has to lose. No, it's just I want to do better. And when you do that, that competitive push that you will get from within is something that really will make you move, what the English say, move mountains. You can't imagine how hard it is for people to imagine a small country like the UAE doing what it has done. And as I said, if the UAE can do it, there is no reason why Tatarstan or any other republic within the Soviet, sorry, it's Freudian slip. Within Russia, there's no reason why they can't do it. And again, if you look at all of the resources that you can pull from, it's fantastic. Now, what does the larger, because this conference is talking about finance and cooperation between Russia and the Islamic world. First, I'd like to remove that idea. There is no quote-unquote Islamic world. There are Muslims and other non-Muslims. Russia is a legal entity, a country. But as I said in the beginning, not all Russians are the same. I want to be able to benefit myself, and yes, I know it sounds selfish, but everyone starts with themselves. I start with myself, and then the circle moves to my family, to my larger family, to my community, to my society. I want to benefit myself, but I also want to benefit others. I need them to do good. I need them to win. I need them to feel that they have an opportunity. Because if they don't, when you know the major problems in major cities that you will find, wherever you go, is not that there are all the people who are not successful are dumb or stupid. No. It's that they're never given an opportunity to grow. They're never given an opportunity to do something. So even if I have the ability to grow and I want to do something, I want to add to the society, to the environment, to my community, I can't. And that causes anger. And nothing is more destructive to everything we do here as humans, as societies, like anger. It destroys businesses, it destroys countries, but more important, and this is more important for me, it destroys people. We don't want that. We want to have a change. By the way, one of the things that I'm going to say something which I think is just for you to think about. Some people will like it, and some people will hate it. But I will talk from a family business structure and then transfer it into a business so that you can understand what I'm talking about. In a family business, it's usually the male who is the patriarch, the one who starts the business and creates the business. And it's usually, he's the entrepreneur. And it's usually that business collapses and fails. The reason is because the mind of the man is, I'm the decision maker, I will get things done, I will move things. You can hear it, me, 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 me. If you interact with a family business that is headed by a woman, a matriarch, you will find that the majority of the decisions are, come, let's talk, let's see, tell me what's on your head. It's not a me decision, it's not a quick decision, it's I want to know how things are done. What's the best way to get things, to move things that benefits the majority of the people? Whether it's the family, whether it's the business. This trait it's not a male-female thing. It's a man-woman thing. It's a female trait and a male trait. Female traits are long-term. They are consensus building. Male traits are fast and decision-making. Sometimes you need this and sometimes you need that. And when you're building up interactions with different peoples, I will say the best and most successful companies will be those who are with the female trait. I need to know, what do you want? How can I build everything so that we can all benefit out of it? And I don't know if you're seeing my pattern being repeated in what I'm saying again and again and again. And this is part and parcel of understanding human behavior. It has taken me 27-ish years out of trying back and forth efforts with my family, externally, outside of the UAE, understanding how to best interact with people. In my family business, we have joint ventures. Our oldest joint venture is from 1954 and is still functioning. For us, understanding how to do a business is not just a contract and we sign. It's I need to know who we're talking to. I need to understand what are their goals, how long do they want to get this thing done. For us, again, also because we are family business, we can look and say a 5, 10, 15, 20-year horizon, not a few months, not a few years. We want to look and say how good is it going to be for all of us down the road. And again, this is important because if we're going to help create opportunities for everyone, business for everyone, a chance for people to make money, to better, again, money is the vehicle, to make money to be able to better the lives of their children, better the lives of their families, better the lives of their grandchildren. The more I can help you reach your goal, the better it is for me. But that's very hard because most people have been trained to think, I win, you lose. It has not worked. The best example, by the way, of I win, you lose is colonialism. I am a small amount, I take over everything else, I make everything, you suffer. Well, it doesn't take very long before they revolt. If you look at the best systems people work in politics, it is actually to get people to come on board. And how can I get you to come on board? If I don't feel for you, if I don't understand what you're going through, if I don't care about you. So look at your beautiful country right now. As I said, for me, my part of the world, we look and we say, okay, Russia, we don't know it. In the 70 years under communism, we don't know it. It doesn't exist. We were told it doesn't exist. Now we're starting to see it. Then we start seeing, okay, what happened after the breaking up of, the destruction of communism? You had a huge amount of wealth creation by very small people, where the majority did not benefit and small peoples benefited. So again, there's this apprehension, pulling back. How can I get into this area because I don't know how to work with them? You also had the issue in terms of accounting. For us, the way we look at accounting, we've been taught to think of it as of the European standard, American standard in terms of accounting. and the standard of accounting that came from the ex-Soviet Union was different. And now it's changing, it's shifting. And now all of a sudden, people are paying attention and saying, you know what? There is one area, one country that we don't know about, that we'd like to know more about. First, for us, our immediate place of attention was India, the Indian subcontinent, because it's right next door. The second one of place of attention was the African continent, because it's right next door. Then it's now picked up, everyone started picking and talking about China. But it's amazing. There's people talking about China, people talking about Latin America, people talking about Africa as a continent. But it's amazing, like one of the most impressive countries in wealth, completely discounted by the rest of the world. And we are guilty of that. And hopefully we will change that. Because as I said, there is too much at risk for both parties. For Russia and for us. And the more we can help create a structure that benefits both sides, the better. The aspect, and I'm just going to bring this one a bit into context, the aspect of Islamic finance. People talk about this aspect. People are talking a lot about this aspect in terms of Islamic finance. I'd like to avoid utilizing the word Islamic finance, because my question is, why is it Islamic finance? I don't have any other religious finance. I don't know of any. I don't need to have Islamic finance. But what I do need to have is honest finance. I need to have a partner in finance. That's more important for me. Whether I am Christian, Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Jewish, it doesn't really matter. I need to have an ability to access good and fair finance, because I want to do a project, I want to build something, I want to move something. And this has been lacking, because the banks have taken a stance, we lend you the money, again, I'm not saying this to be negative against any banks, but this is the past actions that have happened. We lend you the money, we take hardly any risk, you owe, you pay collateral, you put a collateral down, you pay high amount of interest, and if you default, we come and take whatever you have. It doesn't help people wanting to create and do something, because you're making them afraid. The concept of Islamic finance, again, which I would like, again, to remove the word Islamic from it, and just say honest. If you talk about honest finance, is I want to be part and parcel of what you're doing. You want my money, I have money. But let me be with you in your business, whatever your business is. Let me make money with you. So now I have the same concern that you have. If you lose money, it affects me. If you make money, I benefit from it. So I'm there. If you need to stretch it out, fine. If you need to pay it off immediately, fine. Because we're part and again, that's the idea of getting getting financing, honest financing with business. If you can marry the two, you all of a sudden have growth. People will benefit. But it's when you put a label, and unfortunately, and I say that one even as a Muslim, unfortunately, people have a negative impression. That doesn't help. And it's our job to change that impression, to give you a better impression of people you're interacting with. We are taught, I was taught by my family, my word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I am going to do something, whatever that something is. If I say, and I should be honest, if I cannot do it, I should not waste your time disrespect you and say, oh yeah, sure, come, we'll do something. No. Either I can do it, or I can't do it. Either I can afford it, or I can't afford it. I should make sure that you know that when you are dealing with me, you're dealing with somebody who pays attention to you and cares about you, because you also matter to me. I want that to be reciprocal. I care about how you interact with me. So I need you to be I want to be honest with you, and I need you to be honest with me. Most people, again, try to hide their agenda and behind themselves. My past experience and what I've learned from my family has taught me very clearly, if you do that, it's not going to work. People will discover your agenda, people will be unhappy with what you do, and then people will start to plan and do things behind your back. We don't need this. In the business world, this is not needed. People are also, unfortunately, afraid to come and say what's on their mind. They think that if I say what's on my mind, either you will think I'm too small, too unimportant, to whatever negative thought that you want to have. The idea is to be able to say, you know what, I want to bring you on board, and nothing you ask me is wrong, nothing you tell me is bad. How can we best understand one another? Once you do that, growth will always come. And if we have growth in the world, job opportunities, people working, what are the chances of me having a fight with somebody else? I only trade with people who are either neutral with me or positive with me. I cannot trade with my enemy. If I create enemies all over the world, with who am I going to trade? And if I cannot trade, how do I grow my economy? How do I grow my business? So it's important that there is trade between people. But more important is that there isn't this animosity and hatred. Because if I can't do that, how am I going to help myself, let alone help you? This part, and only this part, is the one thing I will emphasize in terms of, and for those who are non-Muslims, for me, this is what Islam stands for. Islam spread two ways. It spread through fighting in certain countries, and it spread through trade in certain countries. And the places where trade happened is where Islam is more accepted and more part and parcel of society, because it was not forced. It was absorbed, it was accepted. And that's the way everything has to happen. Again, trade is important. Understanding how we do trade helps create pictures, impressions, and we leave these ideas in people's heads. And the more we can do positive things about these things, the better, not just, as I said, for me personally speaking about it, but for everyone. I'm actually, sorry, I have absolutely no idea how much time I have. So if someone could tell me. I'm sorry, the reason I'm saying is because I want to know how much time can I talk more, to also make sure that there's also time for questions and answer. Because if I sit and talk and take the whole hour just talking, you want... 12 minutes. For what? In that case, can I open it up for questions and answers, please? Because I know that a few of you are thinking of what I said, and some of you would like to ask a question. And please don't be shy. Please ask. It's not every day, I promise you, you're going to get someone wearing a thobe like this here in Russia, okay? So please ask. Are there any questions that you would like to ask? Yes, please.
You said,
I will repeat what you say.
all you said is true and sounds very fair and just and worthwhile. my question as ecologist is like, do you apply any modern ecological standards when you filter your approaches to any trade, to any business, to any...
So there's a microphone, sorry. May I repeat your question? The question was, do I apply any, what was it again? Ecological standards into the business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who is intelligent, anyone who's looking long term, will have to think of sustainability. And sustainability affects environment and people. If I'm intelligent, I want to build up my body, my body of employees for the long term, never for the short term. And when I utilize materials, whatever materials I use, if I am thinking short-term gain, eventually someone has to clean up all the mess I create. It will be, you want to think of it as a business opportunity, that's fine. I don't think this is right. I was taught, I promise you, this is ingrained in my head. From the age of 8 years old, my uncle used to put this in my head all the time. When I leave the room, switch off the light. When you open the tap, don't open it full. Small little things. When you use when you get in a letter and you open the envelope, reuse the envelope. If you can reuse the paper, reuse the paper. And again, there's small little things, and you're thinking, oh, this is because they're saving money. Yes, why not? There's nothing wrong with utilizing money saving as a driver for saving the ecology or the environment. There is nothing wrong with that one. And as a matter of fact, if you think today I have an abundance of something, I promise you it'll go. There are people who lived by lakes. And the lakes have been for hundreds, 200, 300 years. And all of a sudden one day they wake up and the lake's dry. Why? Because they didn't care about the exact same things, the exact things you're talking about. So a smart, intelligent business person should not look short term, how much can I make and get rid of, but look at long term. The one thing I see, and you forgive me, and this is why I'm not into this business. Well, it's one of the reasons anyway. Have you gone to hotels, and in a hotel they put a small sign on the room, and it says, please use the towel twice. Okay? You're saving the environment. I'm like, no, I'm saving you money. If I wanted to save the environment, I wouldn't build a hotel in the first place. But it's how you look at something. If we take advantage, I promise you, of whatever we have, one day this thing will go away. We need to nurture. If you look at in the past, and by the way, thank you for bringing up this point, this is important because this affects you here, agriculture. What was the agricultural structure before? It would be grow the field, reap the product, and then let it rest. Correct? What have we done? We don't give it rest at all now. It's continuously being used. We're using one crop to the second crop to the second crop. Now, by the way, my knowledge in agriculture is very limited, but still even I know that this is something that eventually what will happen, you will have dry, you won't have topsoil, because erosion, it'll be dead. So I made short-term gain for long-term suffering. This is madness, but we do that, unfortunately. Any other questions? Oh, sorry.
Вы работаете с крупными предпринимателями?
Sorry, I need... Thank you.
Ассаламу алейкум. Еще раз. Я предприниматель. У меня вот 1000 квадратных метров свой халяль-магазин, кафе есть. Я приехала с Альметьевска, это город нефтяников, Татарстан, Татнефть у нас находится. И я хочу вот выставка, которая вот проходит здесь, выставка халяль индустрии, все продукции реализовать у себя в городе. Но мне дальше развиваться, мне нужно... Вы большими только компаниями работаете или как мы тоже вот такими бизнесменами работаете?
Thank you. Thank you. No, sorry, yes, I think I will keep it. Good idea. The problem I have with small companies is access. How do I access the small company? If I'm sitting outside, I don't know of your company. How do I know of the company? I will have to try to interact with the Business Chamber of Commerce and or any of the government bodies to help me, direct me to go to company X or company Y. How do I come to you? If you're in a field that I like, and you are the best at what you do, I will naturally come towards you, because even if you're a small company, you are doing something nobody else is doing. It might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but it will happen if you are the best at what you do. So that I would not be too worried, too concerned. Don't focus on how can I attract people from the outside. Be more focused on being the best at what you do, and I promise you, if you make the best pie, cake, eventually I will come to you, because you're doing the best. This is the best way I can help. And if the best advice I could tell you is take care of your employees, people who work with you, make them feel that this is a special place for them, and they will take care of that, and they will go out of their way to create that best product and best service that you're looking for. We talk a lot about caring for employees. The difference between a business like yours and a large company is when one of your people gets hurt, you know. When someone's family, one of their children is sick, you know. And they care because you know. They care, and this matters. This makes you more important than a large company. That's why people want to work with you and not a large company. Because in a large company, if I get sick or I don't get sick, if I come or I don't come, nobody cares. I'm a number. But with you, because they work with you, you feel for them, they will work harder for you. This is important. So please, don't focus, my advice, don't focus on international. Who's going to come, where are they going? Focus on your people, and I promise you, I will be knocking on your door.
Спасибо вам за интересное выступление, где вы поставили правильные акценты на простых и нужных вещах, которые необходимо понимать в ведении бизнеса. Частично на вопросы, которые сейчас задам, вы уже ответили, но тем не менее, вы сравнили ведение бизнеса с женитьбой. Это значит, что вы очень ответственно подходите к выбору своих контрагентов, бизнес-партнеров и так далее. Хотелось бы узнать, как в вашем семейном бизнесе происходит процесс принятия решений, когда вы собираетесь заключить договор с новым человеком, с новым контрагентом и так далее. И были ли у вас какие-то реальные примеры того, когда вы отказывались от большой потенциальной выгоды, которую практически 100% вы могли получить, если контрагент или ваш партнер новый казался вам недостаточно честным или чистоплотным? Спасибо.
I will give you an example immediately on the last part. You asked me a question as, did I pull away from a deal because the other party was not good with me, not fair with me? It happened a month ago. There was a large insurance brokerage company who wanted to sit with me and do a deal. When they gave me the contract the first time, they put a number, a very stupid number, thinking I won't look at it and I won't understand. For me, this was disrespectful. And I said to them, when this happened, stop. I don't care how much money I can make tomorrow or the day after or the day after. Because if I start with a point where they are disrespecting me, there's no future. I will not start off disrespecting anyone until they give me a reason to disrespect them. If they are correct, if they are being fair with me, even if it's a small business, I will be this exact same thing, fair with them. Because yes, it's small, but they're good. The other one might be large, but it's not good. You're not going to get anything good from it. We have a saying in Arabic that says, when you build a house, if the foundation is bad, I don't care how beautiful the palace, it's going to fall. So I don't want to work with people who are disrespectful, people who try to cheat, or people who try to think that they are smarter than me. Not because I'm the smartest person, but I want to make sure me, the other person, and I are equal when we start. Did I answer your question? Any other questions? There's
one last question. I really appreciate your philosophy. Actually, I could only dream that the whole world, at least my world, would function as described. But I would like to, as a person, I think many people here are engaged in making Russia a better place. One thing which cannot be ignored is the hardship through which the Russian people went over the last 25 years. And you know, when you don't have the security of how to feed the children tomorrow, when you don't know if you are going to feed them today, some ethical aspects like stealing, like cheating, like doing like that, are not only a moral issue very often for many people, and I'm not defending what has been done yet, but I'm just trying to analyze the situation, was more survival game, and then it might have become a habit for some. How would you, as a manager, not only of a company, but of a country or a region, etc., push the critical mass towards those ethical principles? You don't worry too much about how you're going to live and feed the children tomorrow. You're above that. You know, if you take the Maslow pyramid, a lot of people in Russia are still at the
bottom. This is a long-term problem. You cannot solve a long-term problem with a short-term solution. It doesn't work. It's in banking, if you have a long-term problem, you don't take short-term financing it doesn't work. But this is an issue of generation, and it starts off really with leadership and what changes does the leadership want and how long is it willing to go through. Now that doesn't answer the immediate question. The immediate question is, how do I fix an imbalanced situation? An imbalanced situation, and by the way, this is not just in Russia. This is nearly in most of the world, where a small percentage controls a lot. In our part of the world, in the Gulf, let me just talk about the Gulf more than anything else. The compensation for that one is done in two methods. One, it's by the government spreading the wealth. It's one way. And the other one is by the individuals because of the religious edict, zakah and sadaqah, to give. Okay? One is a requirement and the other one is above and beyond. So you give. And the giving, in the Islamic understanding of it, sadaqah, it is a purification. It's a purification of the money you have. It's not a fine, it's not a tax, it's a purification. And there is a verse in the Quran that says, not whatever you give from the sadaqah, it doesn't go away. It comes back to you. Now, this depends on a belief. Do you believe that or not? If you believe it and you give, it's fine. But if you do it because you're forced to, something else. But in order for this change to happen, how can I convince the upper echelon, the ones who are in charge here in Russia, to spread some of the wealth back without hurting others? If I don't believe, and by the way, this comes, I don't want to enter into this too much because this has to do with a philosophical / religious aspect, and I'm not in a position to be able to do that. But it comes back very simply, do I believe in a creator, a hereafter, and judgment, or not? Because if I do believe in a creator, a hereafter, and judgment, I am going to go out of my way to hopefully please my Creator. And how can I please my Creator when I see His creation suffering and I can help but don't? Okay? There is, just one small little thing so that you understand. This is a story I heard. Now, I'm given to understand it's a hadith, but again, if any scholars here or anyone who knows better tells me I'm wrong, I accept it. But this is what I had heard. The story goes, the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Moses, has one of the gentlemen who's with him constantly asks him the question, please ask God to make me rich. The Prophet is thinking, I have other things to do. What am I going to go ask when I go to talk to God? I'm going to ask him. But he puts this aside, repeated again and again and again. Finally, he says, okay, and he goes and he asks. Next time he meets God, he asks him, your slave X, whatever his name is, asked me to make him rich. And God says, I will make him rich from this time to this time. Tell him. So next time he meets him, he tells him that God has said that you're going to be rich from this time to this time. The time passes, and the time when he's supposed to go back to being poor passes, and the guy is still rich. And the Prophet Musa alayhi salam is now wondering, how is that possible? How is it possible that God told me something, and this is not happening? And so when the next time he meets God, and he asks him, you told me that this person is going to be poor after a time, but he's still rich. He said, I gave him a door. I opened the door for him and made him rich. He built a house and he opened 4 doors for people to come in and eat and drink and sleep. Does it make more sense that the creation should be more generous than the creator? And for me, this is the mentality. Again, whether it is taken as a story, this is what matters. That you have to give back from what you get. I cannot take it all. No matter how much I have, I cannot take it all. We're all going to go 6 feet under or 3 feet under or 15 feet under. We're all going to go into the ground. I cannot take it. What better way of thanking my Creator for giving me this than spreading it? But then it comes back to the original question, which I told you is either a theological or philosophical question. Do you believe in a Creator? Because if you don't, everything I've said doesn't matter. Any other questions? There's a gentleman there. Okay, there's 2 questions. There's one here, one there. Alaikum salam. Yes. Sorry.
У меня на самом деле не вопрос, у меня хотел бы озвучить. Мы представляем на этом саммите республику Северного они на самом деле, наверное, самые современные сегодня.